Hi everyone, my name is Anke and I'm from Grace Cove Church. Recently someone drew my attention to the ultimate lockdown in the history of mankind. Do you want to venture a guess who that was? Yes, that's right, Noah. So any idea on how long that lockdown lasted? Okay, so let's see. It starts raining, 40 days. In Genesis 7 verse 24 we read, "And the flood waters covered the earth for 150 days. That's like 5 months. Then in Genesis 8 verse 5, that's now 2.5 months later, as the waters continue to go down, other mountain peaks became visible. Then verse 6, after another 40 days, Noah opened the window and released a raven. And at this point, I'm just imagining Noah opening the window, making sure that butterflies and dragonflies don't fly out and escape, but him taking a big gulp of fresh air and being very thankful for it. Then verse 10, another 10 days. Verse 12, another 7 days. We go to verse 13. On the first day of the new year, 10.5 months after the flood began, the flood waters had almost dried up from the earth. 2 more months went by. So all in all, we are looking at like 12.5 months. Just imagine. I just want to let that sink in a little bit. And then God said, leave the boat. Now let's take a look at Noah. He was a husband, he was a father. The Bible says that he was blameless. He was a righteous man and he walked in close fellowship with God. We read that in Genesis 6 verse 9. And God gives him a couple of instructions. He says, 1, build a boat. Then enter the boat with your family. Then bring pairs of every animal into the boat. Now, bear with me on this one. We've got a couple of animals in the boat. I mean the ark, that wasn't really a boat, it was rather big. So we've got a couple of animals going in, 2 by 2. Kids, I hope you're enjoying this one. And a couple of them go in. Okay, and then God gives another instruction. He says, keep them alive. Now that's an interesting one. We'll get back to that a bit later. And then he says, take enough food for your family and all the animals. And then in Genesis 6 verse 22 we read, so Noah did everything exactly as God had commanded him, and God saved Noah and his family. So there are 2 things that particularly stand out for me in the story. One is by walking close to God, listening to his voice and obeying his instructions. So both in that way, both Noah and his family, they are saved. During his lockdown on the ark, Noah would have continued listening to God and seeking encouragement from him. And the second thing that caught my attention is that God says, keep them alive. Now, he was referring specifically to the animals. I can imagine, though, in his time with God, that God whispered to him, go and encourage your kids. They are feeling a bit low. Or go and crack a joke with your wife. She needs a good laugh. So go keep your family alive. You need each other. So I'm letting my imagination run around a little bit. Who knows, they probably thought of some creative games to play, possibly telling each other stories to pass the time. And in the end, after that long time, they actually made it through. So my encouragement for you, going into another week of lockdown, is that you will get through this. God is with you. He is with us. He promises never to leave or forsake us. Then stay close to God, listen to his voice, and do exactly what he says. And then the third thing is keep the family alive, encourage each other, have fun together, laugh together, take care of each other. And then also remember, we've been hearing a lot about this, is remember the greater church family. Connect with them via Skype or whatever social media is available. There is a lot out there. WhatsApp each other. We've been hearing a lot about that. So let's do that and encourage each other. And I'll end with Ephesians 6 verse 10. And be strong in the Lord and in His mighty power. So God bless you. You've got this. All the best for the next week.